Welcome back, statisticians. It's Mr. Harper Smith again. Let's talk about getting sick. Sometimes someone gets really sick with the cold, and you'll hear people say, oh, it's just a cold, you can get over it, it's fine. Or same thing with the flu, oh, it's just the flu, you're being a crybaby. Or with the coronavirus, you're hearing people say that, oh, the flu and the coronavirus, they're the same thing, there's not a huge difference. Well, let's talk today about the differences between colds and flus. Let's see if the flu is really worse than a cold, or if they're statistically the same. Okay? So here we have some data. We have 1,001 people that died from the cold, and there were 10 million people that got it. So 1,000 people died. Here we have 621 people that died from the flu, and 429,000 people that contracted it. Let's see if they are statistically different, or if they're not. To do this, there's two things we have to calculate, p hat 1 and p hat 2. So for this, for p hat 1, you take x, the number of deaths, and divide it by the total number of cases. In this case, that gives me 1,001 divided by 10 million. That gives me p hat 1 is equal to 0.0001. So 0.001, that's roughly 0.01% of people that get the cold die from the cold. All right. Now for p hat 2, the flu, those should be 2's right there. I'm sorry. We get 621 divided by 429,123. This gives me 0.0014. Okay. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so you can see it. So if we're looking at the numbers, this is a really small number. This is also a really small number. Are they statistically different? Well, let's keep going. What's p hat 1 minus p hat 2? That's going to be the last piece that we need to calculate. Well, to do that, I take this number and I subtract this number. That will give me negative 0.0013. Okay? So as I'm making my confidence interval, which is basically just a number line, the center of my confidence interval is at negative 0.0013. And I'm trying to figure out if there's really no difference. If really there's no difference here, then this would be 0. If there's truly no difference, okay? If there's really no difference, that number should be, this should really be 0. So when we make our confidence interval, if 0 is inside of the confidence interval, then there's not enough data to say that a cold is any better or worse than a flu. And same thing with the flu. There'd be no data to support that the cold is less worse than the flu. All right? Based off the sample, it looks like the flu is slightly worse, but is it statistically worse? That's why we're setting up this confidence interval. Okay? So we're going to see if 0 ends up getting captured in there. All I need to do is take all these numbers and plug them in where I see them. In this case, we're going to use 2 standard deviations. Here we have p hat 1 minus p hat 2 is negative 0.0013 plus or minus 2 times the square root of p hat 1 is 0.0001, 1 minus 0.0001 divided by n, which is 10,000, plus my next set of numbers, which is 0.0014 times 1 minus 0.0014, all over 429,000. And again, I'm trying to figure out, are they statistically different? So let's calculate our confidence interval. I'm going to do this in a calculator, even though I'd like to think I'm really smart. I'm not that smart. I'm going to first do it with a plus sign, then I'll get my answer, and then I'll do it again with the minus sign and get an answer. 2 times the square root of 0.001, 1 minus 0.001, divided by 10 million, plus Alright, so when I added these together, I got negative 0.0012. And when I subtract them, I get negative 0.0014. So that is my confidence interval. Okay. I am 95% sure, that's what two standard deviations represent. I am 95% sure that these two proportions are going to be this far apart, somewhere between negative 0.0014 and negative 0.0012. I'm 95% sure that that's how far apart the proportions are. So somewhere between negative 0.0014 and negative 0.0012. Okay. Their difference, how much difference there is between the two, is somewhere in that confidence interval. 95% sure. Is 0 included in that confidence interval? It's not. So since 0 is not included in that confidence interval, I am 95% sure that the flu is worse than the cold. Okay? That's an example. Try the problem coming up. It's on comparing the flu to coronavirus. See what your answers are.